Hi, I'm Cindy Bertram. Thanks for joining me today on Good Ship Happens. And yes, we are getting into 2024. Yes, we're actually a day before New Year's Eve. That's great too. So I want to celebrate what we've done so far this year as far as positive cruise and travel industry news because I like sharing Good Ship Happens. Yes. And also updates coming up in 2024. It's going to be a phenomenal new year. I'm so excited about new ships coming out. One, of course, is Icon Seas. Right now, she is actually sailing over from Europe, and she's going to be christened middle of January 2024, which is great. And as mentioned before, she's actually the biggest ship ever being built. As far as the tonnage passengers, I know she's got over 6,000 guests if it's full capacity. But once again, they've got different neighborhoods, at least 8 or 9 different neighborhoods. So once again, even though it's a big ship, you still have that closeness and you can actually do fun things with your family friends too, which is great. So definitely keep that in mind, okay? Being on a big ship is not bad because once again, good ship happens. Good things happen on cruise ships too, different areas too. So I want to share that. Also, I know we've got another new ship coming out with Norwegian Cruise Line, not until 2025, but it's their Norwegian Aqua, and it's going to be sailing in 2025. I want to mention because actually it is the part of their first Prima class ship, the Norwegian Aqua, and she's going to have actually the world's first hybrid coaster and 3-bedroom suites, which is great. And she'll be debuting in April 2025, which is great too. So keep it in mind too. So good to share things coming out a little bit later too, not just in 2024. Something else is just receive this information. American Cruise Lines, which is in the U.S., is planning to build 5 more ships in the next 2 years. Yes, 5 more ships. And with the American Cruise Lines, they're actually the biggest U.S. river and coastal cruise ship company in the world, too. And now they're going to get bigger. American Cruise Lines is currently going to be building 5 more new ships. They've got them under construction, and those are going to be scheduled for delivery within the next 2 years. And these are in addition to the 3 ships that they took delivery of this year, earlier in 2023. And all these 5 ships coming out are going to be for the U.S. market, and they include a mix of their American riverboats and their coastal cats. And these new ships will further expand to America's coastlines, and also with this focus on the Mississippi and Columbia rivers, where American Cruise Lines riverboats and cruise ships in the world, which is great. So what's good about American Cruise Lines, people are not aware maybe, they've been specializing actually in river and small ship cruising for over the past 50 years. And they've ordered a vast majority of Americans built cruise ships during that time period. And also, the company also operates the only fleet of 100% U.S. registered riverboats and cruise ships in the world. And the expansion is great. It's family owned too. And what they do too is these new ships are being built by Chesapeake Shipbuilding in Maryland. And it's actually a sister company to American Cruise Lines, which is family owned by the Robertson family. So definitely keep that in mind too, because once again, depends on what you want to do, where you want to go. And if you have never maybe taken a cruise, maybe doing a river cruise in the U.S. might be a good way to kind of get acclimated to the idea. So definitely keep that in mind because they just announced that this week. They're going to be building 5 new ships for the next 2 years. Also, I know that the Colonel Jubilee was just named and departed from Galveston on December 23rd. It's an early Christmas present, yes. And what they've done now too is they just announced a new enhancement of different things they're going to be offering in their ships. And they're actually going to have new enhancement that really elevate the guest experience in different ways. And what they're doing too is they have reimagined their culinary journey with their chef's table. And what they're doing is the Carnival Culinary Center, which is operated by Chief Culinary Officer Emerald Lagasse, they're building new enhancements too. So what they're doing is they've got a dedicated cooking class offering Chief Culinary Officer Emerald Lagasse's favorites, which is great. And it is just debuted, of course, on the Carnival Jubilee as part of the Carnival Kitchen offerings. And also, the chef's table is going to revamp with a new menu and new wine selections too. Carnival launched a new option for its popular chef's table. It's really an immersive VIP culinary experience that includes a really, really sumptuous multi-course dinner hosted by the executive chef on board. And the premium chef's table offers new menu items for guests to enjoy too. And the experience starts with cocktails, hors d'oeuvres for a selected group of 14 people, followed by a tour to see the galley and in operation. And then it concludes with a remarkable dinner of appetizers, entrees, and desserts. And as far as the this chef's table, which is really great, I actually had a chance to do the chef's table when I sailed on Princess Cruises a couple of years ago. Princess Cruises is part of the company, part of the corporation that Carnival Corporation owns, and it was amazing because once again we had a chance to really do this experience. We had cocktails, and then we actually had a chance to do a tour of the galley, and then we sat down and had a beautiful, amazing dinner. So it's so exciting to see what Carnival Cruise Line is doing with their revamping their new menu with their chef's table. That's great too. Also, what's really fun too is I've had a chance to do this myself, but with Carnival, they are actually doing behind the fun ship tours are now available online. To actually think reserve book, but once again, it's a guest favorite. I've done it myself. It's fantastic. It's called Carnival Tours Beyond the Fun, and it's available now for bookings for cruises. If you go to carnival.com starting January 1st. And before, originally it's just available on board, but now I can actually book it in advance as of January 1st, which is coming up in 2 days. So definitely keep that in mind because once again, it's being rolled out fleet-wide too, which is great. So once again, if guests are interested in booking, then you can select the tour as a short excursion in the ship's home port, and the tour takes place on a fun day at sea during the cruise. And once again, they offer some accessible abbreviated tours that are now available for guests that might have some disabilities too, which is really great. I just think it's fun to think about being able to see some behind the scene things that take place on board cruise ships. It's amazing what these staff members do. It's amazing. I've done that before myself. And once again, now they're opening up to book in advance as of January 1st, which is coming up in 2 days. So keep that in mind too, because once again, something else that came up too is I know that Carnival recently just added a new feature to their Hub app. So instead of picking up tags for your luggage, guests can actually indicate a debarkation time via the app and then list the number of bags to be placed outside their staterooms. And it's great because once again, it's just a new updated app. So keep that in mind too, because once again, this new feature is available now on the Carnival Conquest, the Carnival Elevation, the Carnival Sunrise, Carnival Dream, and the Mardi Gras. And then the rest of the fleet will be doing a rollout by February this upcoming year. And you can actually find out more about that by talking to your advisor or also contacting Carnival itself too. So definitely keep that in mind because we've got fun things coming up in 2024, which is just a couple of days away. Something else that just came up too is in the cruise industry, we talk about wave season. Okay, well, what does wave season mean? Well, it's not just riding a wave, okay? You don't have to worry about getting off the ship riding a wave. But what they do is they have special promotional deals too, and which means that it usually comes up to build up that anticipation about booking a cruise for the next year, which is coming up anyway. But what they did was with wave season, these deals are continuing on with lines that include Seabourn, Silver Sea Cruises, Ambassador Cruise Line, Cunard Line, P&O Cruises, Alma Waterways, Scenic, Emerald Cruises, and Riviera, which is fantastic to know too. Other cruise lines do this too, but this just kind of came up too as far as what cruise lines are doing as far as their wave season promotions. It's a way to kind of get a really fantastic savings discount deal too. And I know Seabourn just announced their sale of the year, and it's called SAIL, Sale of the Year. And what they're doing is it gives savings up to 25% of select ocean and expedition voyages, and it has a reduced 15% deposit. Also, travelers can get up to $1,000 shipboard credit per suite for bookings made by January 31st, which is coming up in the next month. So keep that in mind too. And this promotion actually applies to more than 600 worldwide ocean and expedition itineraries in 2024. And beyond includes the Arctic, Antarctic, and South Pacific aboard Seabourn's 2 expedition ships, or the Mediterranean, Alaska, Canada, New England, and other destinations on the ocean fleet. And one good example was they mentioned some examples of ocean cruises. One would be a 7-day Alaska Fjords and Canadian Inside Passage on August 2nd of 2024. Also, they've got a 14-day Celtic Sea and Silver Coast on June 8th of 2024. Also, 7-day Ephesus and Greek Islands Gems on August 11th, 2024. Also, Silver Sea Cruises, which is a beautiful cruise line too, they're offering savings up to $4,000 per suite on a variety of different voyages too. That includes Antarctica to Alaska, the Galapagos to the Mediterranean. And they announced that too. Also, another that came up too is with Cunard Line. And Cunard Line, of course, what they're doing is they're building the first new ship, and she's called the Queen Anne. She'll be coming out later on in 2024. But with the Cunard Line, travelers can actually claim up to a triple onboard spending money on select voyages when booking from December 19th to March 4th of 2024. And the amounts will vary, of course, according to the voyage duration. But once again, they've got some different itineraries. These include Cunard's iconic transatlantic crossings. They've got the Norwegian Fjords cruises, Alaskan adventures and fly cruises to the Western Mediterranean. Something else, Alma Waterways, and Alma, by the way, means love, but Alma Waterways has been around successfully for over 20 years. What they're doing is they've got a special summer triple savings that gives $2,000 savings, free upgrade, and a $50 onboard credit per stateroom for select 7, 10, 11 night Europe Fleet River cruises departing July and August of 2024. And then another thing they mentioned was the summer triple savings offer is applicable to 18 different itineraries across 46 different departure dates from early July to the end of August. And that includes sailings on the Danube, Southeast Europe, and Bordeaux. And travelers in this case have up until March 24th to make their reservation. And also, it's kind of fun too, as this offer is actually combinable with Waterways loyalty benefits and their future cruise benefits program too. So once again, it can be combined with AirPlus, their Waterways special focus fixed price airfare offer, and other things too. Scenic and Emerald savings. Scenic Cruises and Emeralds also have some savings. Scenic Group USA has Scenic Cruises, Emerald Cruises. And what they do is they're offering some special savings as far as flights and drinks. What they're doing is they mention me up to $4,250 savings per suite for select Europe and select Asian river cruises. Also up to $13,000 on select ocean voyages. Also, free single supplements are now available for certain sailings too. And these apply to sailings in 2024 and 2025 as far as bookings that were made starting December 18th, which we've got, but also through March 31st of 2024. So keep that in mind too. What they do is they do require full payment within 30 days of the booking. And so keep that in mind too. That's just another kind of fun thing too to think about too. And but these were just things that came up too, I think, as far as keeping things in mind as far as wave season, but it's a way that cruise lines will really kind of get the word out there what they're doing as far as their ships and sailings in different ways where they're going to, but offering certain promotional rates to really entice people to get on board and book fast too. Once again, then it relieves that stress because once again, sometimes people think, okay, if I wait, I get a better rate. Well, that's not typically the case now more than ever. Also, if you wait to the end, the other problem too is if you're planning on doing a trip that doesn't sail out of the US, it might be kind of difficult to find airfare. Cruise lines do offer airfare. Once again, it kind of depends on the ship and sailing, but once again, it's, I think, easy if you're just trying to plan something out in advance, farther in advance. And also, what I like by that too is it gives you a chance to really plan farther out. Plus, the fun little anticipation things about, okay, what do I want to wear? What do I want to take? Where do I want to go? It gives you more time to plan like that too. And that really, I think, builds up the excitement because once again, for me, when I book a cruise, after I get the cruise booked, I get so excited about, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get back on that ship and see these different destinations and places. So go back to ones I've been to before. But in this case, it's a way to kind of build that anticipation up. And then it gives you something positive to look forward to too, because we need that more than ever. And once again, it's easier, less stress for you, book further out. In this case, they're offering some really, really fantastic promotions. And once again, they just announced this. So once again, it's kind of way to kind of extend that wave season as far as special discounts. They're not just one particular time of the year, but these are ones that are good. You can continue to book through these next couple of months coming up in 2024. So definitely keep that in mind because once again, I think that's just a fun thing to think about too is booking further out. Then you can make sure you've got your plans in order. You have more time to plan where do you want to go, what do you want to see, and also think about the destinations you're going to and find ways to really explore those destinations. I think that's half the fun too. In my case, I like to plan things out in advance. So when I do book my own cruise vacations, I just kind of check, okay, where are we going to be going, sailing to, and what are maybe some places that I like to see on those particular islands. And then go through and kind of review the shore excursions that are available through the cruise line. I'd rather book through the cruise line itself as far as shore excursions, once again, for a couple of reasons. Number one, these are ones operated by the cruise lines themselves, so you feel safe. Okay, it's not just taking a taxi and then you worry about, okay, am I going to get back to ship in time? So I've seen that people do that too. Sometimes they might just take a taxi and then they don't get back in time. Well, guess what? The ship is not going to wait for you. The ship takes off at a certain time. They let you in advance. So the point is, then you have to play catch up with the ship. And it gets to be a very, very stressful situation. Also, it gives you the ease and don't have to worry about where you're going to go. Because with shore excursions, you got things picked out. You can kind of select and see what you want to do too, which is great. Because once again, I just don't like get off the ship and just walk around. I want to go there for a reason, see different things, places I've been to before, but go back there too. One area I love, you think of different places in Barbados. I love Barbados, and they got a beautiful area called Bathsheba where the big boulders have rolled up. On the place, you see beautiful forts in different places too. For instance, in San Juan, Puerto Rico, you've got beautiful forts that are beautiful, and you see those too, and also different places too. St. Kitts, another beautiful island. We can actually go to that one place. Is beautiful. It's actually an old fort, but it took them 100 years to build that fort years and years ago. But it's a beautiful place. You can see different islands too from the top of that area. It's gorgeous. So once again, keep that in mind, of course, when you're thinking about taking a cruise. Book further out, and then, of course, plan things in advance. Look at the shore excursions that are being offered by that cruise line, of course, too, which is great because once again, when it comes to river cruise lines, a lot of these river cruise lines do include a complimentary shore excursion for each port that they actually go to. If you're going to the Caribbean cruise, you usually have to pay for your shore excursions. But with the river cruises, is a whole different concept over in Europe. Other places they go to. What's good too is they usually include a free complimentary shore excursion at those different cities they go to too, which is great. And I think that's something to definitely think about doing too, because once again, you don't want to go by yourself. Okay, don't go it alone, as I tell people. No, go to a company, in this case, a cruise lines. They work with different people too. But once again, think about taking different excursions, and you can actually get those booked in advance before you actually get on the ship. Or always, you can actually get shore excursions booked when you're on the ship too, because they have their shore excursions desk too, people that help you too. So definitely keep that in mind, because once again, you don't want to lose out and miss on seeing beautiful places in different areas too, which is great. And also, another thing that's going to be coming up soon too is Alaska. Alaska season is a short season because of the cold weather and the ice. But once again, you got different choices. You can actually sail on Alaskan cruise from Seattle, Washington, yes, or you can go head up to Vancouver, which is beautiful. It's maybe it's about an hour away from the border of Washington versus Canada. But also, you've got different options too as far as Alaskan cruises. You can actually do a pre-cruise tour first, fly further up north, and you actually then take that 3-night, 4-night tour first, right? Move to different hotels, then you actually then would be sailing from Alaska back down to the U.S. So keep that in mind too, because there's so many options out there too. And I know that with the river cruising in the U.S., we've got different options, of course, with American Cruise Lines. They've been around for over 50 years. They're building 5 new ships, which is great. And like I said, it's family owned, and the company that builds the ships is actually part of the family that owns the American Cruise Lines company too. So keep that in mind too. As far as what we've seen so far this year, of course, I mentioned that the Carnival Jubilee just sailed on her maiden voyages on December 23rd. It was an early birthday present, as I tell people. And she's doing now sailing from Port of Galveston year round. And she has 7-day itineraries. These include Cozumel, Costa Maya, Mexico, and also Mahogany Bay, which is in Honduras. And I think it's really, really a nice option because, once again, years ago, I mentioned before, in the cruise line industry, when they first started, of course, they sailed primarily out of Miami. Port Miami is like the base of when the cruise industry first started years and years and years ago. And then we saw this far ships sailing out of Port Everglades, which is in Fort Lauderdale. And of course, with Port Canaveral, which is about an hour away from Orlando, that came into high speed too. But now we've got some really, really different options too. When you think about Galveston as one. Also, earlier this year in April, I had a chance to be flown to New York, where I was able to see the MSC Meraviglia ship. She had just arrived from Europe over to New York, and she was going to start sailing year-round from New York City, different places. Bermuda was one option, but also doing some Caribbean cruises from New York. And New York is another place that is pretty easy to go to as far as flying there too. And like I said, that's just an option to think about too. We've got some options out of California too, of course. And of course, Seattle offers different options from Alaska. But definitely keep that in mind because, once again, with Galveston, this is one example of cruise lines focusing on offering more itineraries out of Galveston, Texas. And you can drive there, fly there if you want to. But just keep that in mind because we've got so many different options out there too. As far as other ships coming out this year in 2024, in 2 days, as mentioned, Icon of Seas is going to be coming out in January. Sun Princess, which is Princess Cruises' new ship, is actually going to be christened in February of this year, 2024. The Queen Anne, which is Cunard Line's new ship, will be coming out later on in 2024. And as mentioned, as far as new other ships coming out, like I said, with the Royal Caribbean's Icon Seas, it's actually January 23rd. She's going to be christened, named in Miami. Also, Royal Caribbean has another ship coming out called Utopia of the Seas. She's coming out in July of 24. Not as big, I don't think, as Icon of the Seas, but of course, then Princess, of course, too, the Sun Princess is coming out, of course, in February of 2024. And she's got 29 different dining options. She's got a main restaurant that's triple decks. So it's 3 decks for the main restaurant, which is great. Beautiful views, I think. Also, they've got their specialty restaurants. They've got their kai sushi, their omai teppanyaki, and also the dome. It's in the forward. It's called the dome. It's a forward upper deck area. It has a daytime indoor-outdoor pool. Plus, it's got evening acrobatic shows too for entertainment. And of course, with the Cunard Line Queen Anne, she's their first new ship in over a decade, 10 years. And she really expands some of their favorite areas, including their Golden Lion Pub, which is kind of fun. And she'll offer some new onboard, I think, is going on too. They've got the Bright Lights Society Cabaret, also the Queen's Grill. Grand Suite is the first. It's the largest private accommodations on board. And we mentioned this before too in previous episodes of Good Ship Happens, but Disney Cruise Line is launching their Disney Treasure. I love the name, Disney Treasure. She's going to be arriving in December of 2024, so almost a year out. But once again, this is part of their new ship series. And what they're doing is they've got an adventure theme going on with this ship, the Disney Treasure. She has a grand hall, which is reminiscent of Aladdin's Agrabah. Also, Plaza de Coco, which is like a culinary journey alongside Miguel and his family, characters from the film Coco. And I love the theme because once again, it just has more of an adventure type thing too. Also, they've got the Haunted Mansion. Yes, who would think about a Haunted Mansion on board a cruise ship, right? But Disney really takes, they're taking this really, I think, fun twist as far as waving the magic wand in their Disney theater too. And what they've got is they've got their 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea themed Periscope Pub. You don't think about a pub, but once again, this is going to be called their 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea themed Periscope Pub on board the ship. And they've got their Aqua Mouse water coaster. And it's got, I think it's kind of fun, the Curse of the Golden Egg storyline too. Some other ships coming out, of course, in 2024. Just build the anticipation up to is the Explorer 2, which is a sister ship of the Explorer 1, which was just debuted earlier in this year. Spyber Explorer Journeys. It's a very, very luxury, high-end cruise line ship. It's owned by the MSC Group, MSC family. And the Explorer 2 will be actually debuting in summer 2024. Also, Silver Sea Cruises. They've got their ship called the Silver Ray. It's going to debut actually in June of 2024. And this is their second ship within their Nova class of ships. She's actually a sister ship to the Silver Nova. Written about that. That came out earlier this year, which is great. I wrote about it. And also, I know Ritz-Carlton Yacht Club, been off a couple years now, they just welcomed their second vessel. They're welcoming their second vessel in February of fall of 2024. And it is their Ilma. It's got a passenger capacity of 448 guests, 5 restaurants. They've got 6 bars, and they've got a water sports marina, which is great. We've got some really, really fun things going on like that too. And also, I know with Viking Cruise Lines, they've got numerous ships, but the Viking Vela is their 11th Viking Ocean ship is coming out in 2024 too. And once again, I think I mentioned too earlier in a previous episode is because we've got the Summer Olympics coming out in 2024 in Paris. And it's a little over 6 months away. And of course, people really love to maybe see the Summer Olympics, and going to Paris might be a good way to see the Olympics too, because that's where it's taking place. And once again, the games are going to be drawing people over there for probably 16, 17 days. So what they're doing is what they're doing is the same river is of interest because that's really close to the Olympics special opening ceremony. Because once again, Paris and the Seine are really the focal points of many river cruise lines too. River cruises. But once again, it's another thing to think about too, because there are some special river cruise lines maybe doing some special things. So keep in mind about it too. It just kind of depends what they're doing right now too. We've got still 6 months away too. I know that some cruise lines are offering some maybe possible itineraries that tie in the Summer Olympics. I'm not sure who. Once again, I know some are still waiting for the French officials to really kind of communicate with them too. So, but definitely keep that in mind too, because that's kind of interesting as far as the Olympics and thinking about that too, because the Olympics only come up every couple of years, and it kind of depends on what you want to see. If some people are maybe not interested in the Olympics, then maybe steer clear of that area first and think about maybe taking a river cruise line, a river cruise later on after we get through the Olympics. Okay, but definitely keep that in mind too. Mark, any questions for me? I've talked about a lot so far as new ships coming out and the seasons and the excitement too.
No problem. You can tell I've got a haircut and everything, getting ready for the new year and all along those lines. So that got me to thinking about the opportunities for haircuts and all along on a cruise ship. If you're on a cruise ship, so I've got a video of people talking about their haircut experience at one of the cruise ships and everything along those lines. So if you like, we'll take a look at this family that was getting their opportunity to get their haircut while they were on a cruise and all in that space. So if you get a chance, we'll check this out.
That's great. Yes.
All right. Welcome back, cruisers. Back today, we are at the Ship Shape Spa on the Mariner of the Seas, and we are going to go get
haircuts.
Woohoo! We're going to go see if we can get styling. I'm not, but Alex, Amanda, and Austin, they're going to go get salonified, beautified, and styling haircuts. Look how excited he is.
If you're new to our channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button to keep up with all of our thrilling cruise journeys. As we push open the salon doors, we're welcomed by the calming hum of hair dryers and the hostess's friendly smile that invites us into this onboard oasis. First up is Amanda. She's paired with Rico, a seasoned stylist from the Philippines.
Hello.
His smiling face and expert hands immediately put Amanda at ease.
Marking it. So these sinks are pretty cool.
Yes.
Awesome, look at those. Where are you from?
Philippines.
Nice. Very nice.
Rico starts by massaging in a scalp exfoliation treatment, a refreshing start that leaves Amanda's hair primed for a transformation.
This is the coolest sink. I love this sink. I need one of those sinks for at home. That's pretty cool.
Interestingly, we discover that the salon staff isn't contracted by Royal Caribbean. Instead, they're directly hired by the salon, a testament to the salon's commitment to providing top-notch service. Following the treatment, Rico meticulously trims off Amanda's split ends with precision, his experienced hands moving confidently through her hair. The process is artful and detailed, and it's clear Rico is a master of his craft.
He's using like smaller sections with the flat iron. That's awesome. It does. It looks beautiful. It looks really pretty, Amanda. Rico's hooking you up with some curls there.
Meanwhile, Austin is settling into Laurel's station. Her warm personality and expertise shine through as she begins Austin's haircut. Laurel is from the Philippines too, and she spent the past 6 months aboard the Mariner of the Seas, shaping and styling to perfection. She starts with the clippers, expertly navigating the contours of Austin's head before transitioning to scissors to refine the style. Before we know it, Amanda emerges, her hair now a vibrant, flowing testament to Rico's expert touch.
Very nice. You did a great job. Next victim. All right. You're looking very stylish, buddy. Although his hair's pretty thin too, right? Looks very nice. Thank you.
Checking back in with Austin, Laurel has finished crafting his new style.
Looking good. Yeah, very cute. Oh, you know what I heard today? What? I'm not putting it in the mirror. That looks really cool. You think that's my like? Yeah, that does. It looks really cute.
It's so cute.
For this unique onboard experience, it's been $60 well spent on each of the boys and about $100 on Amanda. The Ship-Shape Spa was not only about haircuts and styling, but also about a wonderful experience with Rico and Laurel. Their expertise, coupled with their warm personalities, made this a memorable adventure. As we continue our cruise journey, we'll carry a piece of their artistry with us, reminding us that adventure on a cruise comes in all forms.
All right, so we just got done, and what does everybody think?
It's really good.
Yeah, they did an awesome job. These guys look super cute, super handsome, beautiful. Good job in the Ship-Shape Spa on the Mariner of the Seas. And we had L'Oreal and Rico. All right, so come give them a visit if you're on the Mariner.
Okay, so thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell and see where we're going next. Bye for now.
So yes, you can get a nice haircut even on the cruise ship and all along those lines. So that was an
Yes.
example of that and everything. And I know that sometimes we talk about the performers, and I've actually got something for you on this particular holiday. I've got a example of an acrobatic duo on a cruise ship. So let's watch the acrobats on a cruise ship.
Right.
Even when I was that young, I was never that limber. So I don't know about that.
No, but it's amazing. I mean, people don't realize the entertainment you see on board cruise ships.
Oh yeah.
And the
And now
point
that
is,
yeah,
it's included.
it's included. And not only
They
that,
don't charge you for shows. I mean,
Right.
what a bad mouth. LV, okay.
Right.
But the thing is, one time I was out there for a conference. I've been there for a conference before. I'm not a big Vegas fan, but we had to go for a conference. They actually gave us a complimentary ticket for one of the shows. If we'd actually had to buy the ticket would have been over $100.
Oh yeah.
Yes, exactly. The point is, on cruise ships, they've got beautiful entertainment on board the ships, different, diverse entertainment. That's just one example. And they've got shows. And in one place, when I was on the Celebrity the pre-christening cruise, in the club, I've been on the club and one of their other ships too, which is great. Once again, it was just it's a multi-purpose type of space. Once again, it changes character in the morning to what they do in the evening, and they did fantastic shows here. In fact, I was talking to a friend of mine afterwards. He says, Cindy, I mean, he's been cruising for years too, works for big cruise industry related travel company, but he says, Cindy, that was probably one of the best shows I've ever seen. It was beautiful. I mean, the music and dancing, but just the transference, the whole story, it was amazing. And the theaters have good shows too.
Yeah, they got great shows and everything. And sometimes you can even find entertainment for yourself. Because I think I told you before, because your show is usually on Fridays, I was watching my alma mater play basketball, and I learned that on certain cruises, they have 3-on-3 tournaments and 5-on-5 tournaments. So you might even get a tournament on the cruise. So here's an example of one of the cruises where we have a guy that even calls himself the Ball Dad and his two competitors, and they compete in a basketball tournament. So let's see how they do because you might even get a basketball tournament on the cruise.
Sure.
The older guy let the young one do most of the work, but he still won a championship. So he won and got the championship along with his two friends and everything. But it looks like they won we're playing 3-on-3 basketball right there on the cruise and everything.
Yes.
That's amazing that they were able to do that and all on those lines. I had a video of one of the people from the Costa Rica. I'm trying to load that up. But before I get to that, one of the questions I was going to ask you, and this is a longer video, and these people are talking about P&O, because I know different cruises have different dress codes, but I was wondering, have you ever had to scrounge and find a outfit? Because I know that some cruises, not all cruises, but some cruises have concierges and other people that can help you find something if you didn't bring it with you and everything. So I didn't know if you ever had the experience of trying to scrounge up a dress or having a gentleman with you try to scrounge up a suit or something like that. Because, you try to pack, and this is what this particular video talks about, is what you need to pack, because they're talking about the P&O cruise line and their dress code, and they're going to explain the dress code for us. So let's check out what they've got to say about the dress code.
Okay.
Hey everybody, it's Jamie here and welcome to my vlog with all the information you need to know about dress codes when sailing with P&O Cruises. But before we go any further, please do give this a cheeky little like, subscribe and turn on notifications for my weekly travel vlogs. That's not asking too much, is it? We're here to unpack all the info to help you get sorted for your next P&O cruise. So let's start with the easy one, daytime on board the ship. This is pretty much anything goes, especially when poolside. The only request P&O have in this area is not to wear trunks, bathing suits or bikinis indoors, and also to wear shoes when venturing inside. This will generally mean popping on some flip-flops and a top of some description to visit the buffet, for example. Next, let's take a look at what is widely referred to as black tie, or what is becoming known as celebration nights on P&O cruises. The suggested attire here is a tuxedo, ball gown, dinner jacket, cocktail dress, or just a suit jacket and tie, generally dressing up. All of P&O's dress codes come into play from 6 PM on board, but a little more on that later. P&O's newer, larger ships, Avia and Iona, are slightly more relaxed in the sense that black tie or celebration nights are less frequent on board than the other P&O ships. On Avia and Iona, cruises of less than 2 weeks will feature 1 black tie night, whilst if on board for 2 weeks, you can expect 2 black tie nights. All other ships in the fleet will have 2 black tie nights for cruises of up to 13 nights, and 2-week cruises would feature 4 black tie nights. So do keep this in mind when booking your cruise and pack accordingly. And to give you a flavour of what this looks like in real life, here are a few of my shots from around the ship on a couple of black tie nights. In the past, we've opted for the full tuxedo, however, in more recent times, we have tended to opt for the dark suit option, simply as we find it more comfortable, particularly when eating several courses. On black tie nights, children are completely able to join in with dressing up, but as a minimum are expected to be in evening casual wear, but with no denim. As I mentioned earlier, with P&O cruises, the dress code will come into effect from 6 PM in the majority of interior venues on board. On each ship, there are several venues where the dress code is adopted and enforced, so let's take a look. On Arcadia, the dress code of the evening will apply in the main dining room, Intermezzo Bar, which is the small bar on the walkway near Ocean Grill, the Crow's Nest Bar, Sindhu Restaurant, and the Ocean Grill, the last remaining such restaurant in the fleet. On board Aurora, the evening's dress code will apply in the main dining restaurant, Anderson's Bar, the Crow's Nest Bar, and Sindhu Restaurant. It also applies in the Glasshouse Restaurant. On board Avia, the evening's dress code applies in the main dining restaurant, the Crow's Nest Bar, the Epicurean Restaurant, the Chef's Table, Queen & Co. Restaurant, and Sindhu Restaurant. If on Azura, alongside the main dining restaurant, the evening's dress code applies in Blue Bar, which is the bar at the top of the atrium, Planet Bar, which is the bar high up on the aft of the ship, the Glasshouse Restaurant, and the Epicurean Restaurant. With Britannia, aside from the main dining restaurant, the evening dress code applies in the Crow's Nest Bar, the Epicurean Restaurant, and Sindhu Restaurant. Nice and easy, just as we like it. Looking at Iona, P&O advised the dress code applies to the main dining restaurant, the Crow's Nest Bar, the Epicurean Restaurant, the Chef's Table, and Sindhu Restaurant. Lastly, for Ventura, aside from the main dining restaurant, the dress code applies in the Red Bar, which is the bar at the top of the atrium, Metropolis Bar, similar to its sister Azura, high up at the aft of the ship. It also applies in Sindhu Restaurant, the Glass House, and the Epicurean Restaurant. And now let's look at evening casual. This is the only other evening dress code, so will apply to all nights that are not black tie. If this is the evening's dress code, then this will apply from 6 p.m. in all of those venues we just mentioned. P&O Cruises talk about smart casual trousers and tops, shirts and skirts, and also darker denim. Now, there's a little bit of ambiguity as P&O mentions shorts being acceptable in the buffet and open deck only on Caribbean itineraries, but this is a little unclear as on all itineraries anything goes on the open deck and the only requirement for the buffet is to be clothed. They do, however, specify no football tops, tracksuits or trainers for evening casual nights. Personally, this is where I rely on polo shirts, or indeed anything else with a collar, smarter jeans, and maybe the odd colourful shirt. Here are just a few snaps of me with friends on board just to help give you an idea. Now then, if like me you are not always in the mood for doing black tie, then do not despair. There are still areas of the ship where the dress code is not in force. Equally, if the dress code is evening casual and you don't even feel like dressing to that standard, there are still places to go. On all ships, casual eateries, predominantly we are talking the buffet, but also venues such as the Keys on Iona and Avia don't operate a dress code, aside from the requirement to be fully clothed. There are also plenty of bars and lounges which do not operate dress code, such as the pub-style bars on board like Brody's, Spinnaker Bar if you're on Arcadia, or Champions on Aurora, the various show lounges, as well as the casino and theatre. In the past, themed nights have featured, such as Black and White Night, 70s through to 90s, Tropical Nights, to name a few. P&O Cruises used to maintain a list on the website of cruises and the name and number of any planned theme nights. However, this seems to be no longer available. Presumably, if you have a theme night on your cruise, you'll be notified in advance. So that concludes our overview of the P&O dress code. I often hear from people who are worried that dressing up isn't for them, and this sometimes puts them off the idea of a cruise. Whilst it is true, formal wear on black tie nights is not mandatory with P&O, it may limit the venues available to you after 6 p.m. on black tie nights should you not wish to dress up. The dress code is enforced in the specified venues, although over the years and in my personal experience, this can be quite inconsistent depending on the ship and the crew, and I've also seen this done with varying degrees of tact. In my experience and compared to other cruise lines, the majority of P&O clientele, and particularly on smaller and more traditional ships, will tend to opt for formal wear on black tie nights. However, these do feature less frequently on the new and slightly more casual ships Iona and Avia, so if you are apprehensive about dress code, these might be better options to give cruising a try. Any questions or tips on all things dress code, well, do pop them in the comments below. Well, as always, thank you for watching, and don't forget to follow Travel Blog Jamie on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
Some of the British tips that they gave and everything, but
Right.
I do know that there are some trips that have concierges that might be able to help you find something if they're on a port call. So if you got the money, they can help you buy a suit if you're like going to London or someplace that, or Paris that's got fancy people and then fancy shops, and they might be able to help you go to those shops and help you do some shopping. Because I do know that there are some cruises that have concierge type service, at least in my understanding that they have some concierge type services.
Well, they have concierge people too, but also on cruise ships, they actually have shops on board the ships.
Right.
I was on Somerset. It was more of the shops were a little bit different than I've been to at different cruise lines too. But I also tell people just, make sure you pack in advance too, because
Right.
once again, the dress code varies so much. Okay.
Right.
I mean, it used to be years ago when I first started cruising, you had, like the formal nights, they call them formal nights. He called them black tie nights, formal nights, different things. You've got options too with different restaurants now too. Also with the buffet options, those are open usually almost not quite 24/7, but open till
Yeah.
late evening for dinner if you want to. It's more casual, but it gives you some choices to think about too. In my case, I like getting dressed up. This is one example. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I like getting dressed up. It just makes me feel good. And one time, I think I told you that what came up for me was I was at a conference the week before, came back, I did a presentation, came back. I was actually flying out early morning on Friday morning to take a cruise vacation. Okay. And I packed all my bags, got checked in. The problem in my case, I used the people outside. I didn't check my bag tags.
Wow.
Got down to Fort Lauderdale, and guess what? They
What
brought
happened?
the bags to the wrong airport.
Oh, wow.
I went to their help desk with Southwest Airlines and said, okay, we're going to put them back. We'll get them back routed too. But the point is, my cruise was departing. I had to get them on the ship before 6 o'clock.
Mhm.
My bags were going to get back to 7 o'clock at night. What they did was they were going to route my bags, my 2 checked bags, to San Juan, Puerto Rico by Monday, our first day in port. I did, thank goodness for me, as I had rented a car, and I called my friend. He had wanted to pick up some things too, and he dropped me off at Sawgrass Mills. So I went shopping for a cocktail dress, some other things just to wear for a couple days. And I boarded the ship as bag lady. Okay, sit literally, I boarded the ship as bag lady, right? But the thing is, when I got on board, thank God I found a beautiful cocktail dress. Okay, other things too, just survived for a couple days. In my
That's what I'm
case,
saying. You found that on board?
no, I went to Sawgrass Mills.
I get you.
I went shopping first. I got it early enough. I went to Sawgrass Mills. He dropped me off. I got the rental car. He picked me up. Sawgrass is an outlet. They have beautiful stores where I picked up different things I need to wear, a cocktail dress, whatever, and then got on board the ship. But the point is, I got a phone call that night that we were invited. I was invited to the captain's table because I knew the president of the cruise line at the time. So we got invited to the captain's table the next night. Well, thank goodness I had a beautiful cocktail dress to wear. Because when I reached out to, was there a dress up night too? Formal night? When I reached out to them, the only thing they're going to be able to give me as a woman was maybe black slacks and a top. For guys, they gave them tuxedos. For women, they did nothing.
Right.
Thank goodness I had purchased a cocktail dress myself before I got on the ship. Thank goodness I had plenty of time to do it. But I tell people, pack some things in your carry-on bag now more than ever, because when we had that disaster last year in December, the meltdown, you pack extra things in your carry-on bag just as a backup kind of thing too. Because once again, it varies so much. But in my case, getting invited to be at the captain's table for dinner, yes, you got to get dressed up. And in this case, they had chefs on board the ship on that ship, but they didn't really have any cocktail dresses. But thank goodness I actually found one at this outlet complex. It was just crazy. Once again, I tell people, just have a backup plan. Pick an extra, for a woman, pack up a dress, special dress to wear. Other things, come in your carry-on bag,
Right. That makes a lot of sense. You got to be prepared.
The thing is, because it varies so much. I mean, these are formal nights, informal nights. It varies so much. Every cruise line is different. So the thing is, go back to what that cruise line's protocol is, what they're going to be requiring on board that ship.
Yeah,
And think about that too. Plan in advance, okay? And the point is, in my case, don't leave home without it, okay?
Don't leave home without it at all.
No, but plan in advance. I mean, I just didn't think it. Now I always do. I have a special cocktail dress for my bag when I'm rolling with me, And other things too, just as a backup. You don't know. I mean, and the thing is, you can buy certain things on board the ship, but not everything.
You don't know.
No.
Exactly.
But plan in advance, okay? Because you don't want to mess up too. Because the thing is, right now there are special sales right now going on for the New Year's. And of course, it's going to be parties at different cruise lines. And the thing is, people get dressed up. So make sure, like I said, that and the itineraries are changing a little bit too. But once again, just look in advance as far as what's going to be going on as far as a cruise line itinerary, they'll let you know in advance as far as is it like a formal night, informal night, and options out there too. Where you want to dine different nights because you get special restaurants, you can actually book those in advance. You want to. The
Okay.
special restaurants usually have a surcharge fee, but it's still good to do those too. I've done that. It's great.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna bounce off, and I think we might close out with some videos from Sun Princess and Sky Princess. Cause I got some short videos, but I'll put those loaded up and might close out with those and everything.
Great.
Got to get them loaded up first, and we'll actually play one of our old classics, and then we'll go out totally with those ones after I get them loaded up and everything. But I think we'll go out with one of our old classics, and maybe we'll hear a little bit from the lady that is the environmental lady, and all in that space. And we'll come back with the new ones that Sun Princess and I think it was Sky Princess have as well. So let's hear a little bit from Sylvia Earle first.
I'm Dr. Sylvia Earle, a marine biologist, oceanographer, explorer, and I'm passionate about the protection of this blue planet. I grew up next to the ocean in the Gulf of Mexico, and I've witnessed how much the ocean has changed and how marine life has been endangered. But I know there is still time to help the ocean, which is why I was drawn to the Aponte family's sustainability mission. Explorer Journeys has a genuine ambition to connect people with the wonders of the sea, its marine life, its communities, spiritually, physically, and intellectually. We share the same values and have the same objectives to deepen people's relationship with the ocean, to explore, protect, and restore. Explorer Journeys calls it the ocean state of mind, a sensibility that will ensure the protection of this precious blue planet. Through my foundation, Mission Blue, we're working on ocean conservation, inspiring hope with champions across the world. Beginning with my extraordinary role as godmother to Explorer One, we will be heralding a meaningful collaboration between myself, Mission Blue, and Explorer Journeys and the MSC Foundation towards preserving and restoring the world's oceans, the blue heart of the planet.
Richard, how you doing?
Ahoy, Jennifer. Lovely to see you. I'm so excited we're partnering on Virgin Voyages.
Yeah, I'm really excited too, but I was thinking that maybe before we announce it, that we should decide on my official title at Virgin Voyages.
Yes, and I already have a few options for you.
Okay.
What about something catchy like, don't be fooled by the ship that I got. I am now Jenny from the dock.
Okay.
Dame Jennifer Lopez,
Isn't there like a paperwork and like a sword involved?
Supreme Goddess of Mermaids.
You know what? Let's just tackle the title thing later. I'm just excited to share our gorgeous ships with the whole world.
Okay, look, I'll brainstorm a little more and catch up soon on it. Mermaid in Manhattan?